Continuing debate, the honourable member for Simcoe North.
Mr. Speaker, it's my honour to rise today and speak to Bill C-8, which is the Economic and Fiscal Update Implementation Act of 2021. The bill touches on several different topics, but I'd like to focus on a few critical elements related to farmers. For farmers, quite simply, this bill is an acknowledgement that the government's approach has been wrong. It recognizes the harm of its carbon tax on farmers, except there's just one problem. The remedy doesn't go nearly far enough. Instead, the government's attempting to introduce a complicated rebate method. It puts an additional burden on farmers to collect their receipts, and at the end of the year, they'll get a fraction of what they paid in carbon tax back. Mr. Speaker, tax credit's not good enough. Farmers deserve much more than that. And what's the science-based justification for treating diesel and gas differently from natural gas and propane? Natural gas and propane are cheap and efficient ways to heat and cool large buildings for many farmers, whether it's the shop they do repair work in, or the place that livestock live in the cold winter months. These fuels are vital to selling most crops because of how farmers dry their products. This huge expense to farmers is why the Ontario Federation of Agriculture has been calling on the government to rethink the carbon tax application to farms. In March, the federal government needs to understand and work to lessen the negative impacts of the carbon tax. It negatively impacting the ability for farmers in Ontario to compete in both domestic and international markets. When the carbon tax was initially announced, farmers were concerned. They knew they could not raise prices like they can in other industries. There was no way they could reduce the amount of fuel they're using, and increased costs come directly from their bottom line. That means it reduces the amount of money farmers could take home to their families at the end of the year and the amount of money farmers have available to pay workers. I hope that all members in this House understand exactly how important farmers are to this country. When you live in a city and do the majority of your traveling by plane, take a look down, and what you can see are beautiful farms covering the countryside. In many rural communities across this country, farming was the reason they sprung up and the reason they continue to exist today. The tax credit proposed is complicated, it's onerous, and it does not make it equitable with other fuels. Mr. Speaker, there's an excellent solution here to help the farmers that's quite simple, and it's not in this bill. The solution is to provide a full exemption at the point of sale. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question, questions.